How goes it, family? Welcome back to Patterson on Properties. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Hopefully, you guys have been enjoying yourselves with your family, your friends, and you're just happy to be alive because should be the number one thing that you're thankful for, and be thankful to have certain people and things in your life because, no matter how you look at it, it's a rough time that we're living in across the world, not just within the United States of America. Now, today's subject, I'll be talking about where investors are purchasing real estate in places and it's been a big dynamic change and shift for a lot of people, not for myself because I've always liked to invest in cheaper areas, but other people are starting to jump on the bandwagon even more, getting away from the quote unquote trendy city areas and things, major market areas, things of that nature. The major shift of real estate, and it's all based off an article I read today. Major shift of real estate industry because of COVID-19 definitely changed the pecking order of the real estate industry altogether. The whole location. It's all about location. It's what it's all about. However, high density urban areas, AKA major cities and the suburban areas around the major cities within a 20, 30-minute radius and whatnot, used to be the number one spot within the United States that people wanted to purchase real estate and for the spot for investors as well. Now, my personal opinion, I think it's just an area where people want to buy their homes, especially if there's the new first-time home buyers tax credit thing that's actually put out there. I definitely would behoove anyone who wants to become a homeowner to see if they can qualify for that within the new year. Now, in the 2020 COVID-19 economy, suburban communities and rural communities are receiving more and more of an uptick in sales nowadays, and more real estate investors have actually gotten ahead of the curve. And the states that are in high demand because of the number one reasons they have some of the best suburban and rural communities within the United States of America. And that's another thing, rural communities across America have been a dying breed. Not saying that they've been totally decimated, but they've just been areas that a lot of people are in high numbers have not looked to move to. But obviously in a time frame where you live in, where you have a chance of getting sick, the less chance, I would imagine, if you're in an area, even though there have been a lot of rural communities in the United States that have had an uptick in COVID-19 cases, but if you have like 50 to 100 acres of land and whatnot, the chances of you catching something, if you're around less people, I think the chances are less. But hey, I'm not a medical professional, but I just bring common sense to the equation. And the communities I'm talking about are in the state of Alabama, state of Mississippi, Texas, Indiana, and Ohio. All those specific areas. Honestly, I can definitely understand this. Like I said, less people can equal less traffic, less crime, low cost of living, and definitely less taxes all at the same time. People are just getting more in tune. It's just from a buyer and a renter perspective, more in tune with peace and quiet and solitude all at the same time. The whole "I love living in a major city" thing is becoming a dying breed, especially given the fact that most major cities aren't even open for you to even enjoy it anymore. If you're going to be stuck in a place all day, you might as well be stuck in a place where you can do a lot more, have a lot more space. One investor stated that those markets that they are able to actually put a little bit less money in, and it was like a great example. It's like why I love the Ohio and the Indiana and Pennsylvania markets, because you can buy a rental property at a better price for under $60,000 to $70,000, and you're able to put less money down and you can be qualified for a loan at a cheaper rate. It becomes a 20% down, or you can be able to just put yourself in a position where you can buy the property cash money outright. Well, all you have to worry about is the property taxes and the insurance and whatnot and maintenance issues and things of that nature. But they said that, less money, but also that it makes more comfortable amount of a return too, which is, you get a heavier amount of return, stated the investor, Bijan Green, a Denver-based real estate investor. A deal for him is a property he can buy for under $100,000 typically, like I stated earlier. And a deal for me is something I would buy under $60,000. You know what I mean? But anyways, Mr. Green went into a great amount of detail about a deal that he closed in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area. He stated that the property purchased on auction.com via a bank-owned REO auction in July 2019. Following extensive renovations that took nearly a year to complete, the property was resold to an owner-occupant buyer in July 2020. If it hasn't already, this new phenomenon will continuously drive up the cost of homes all over the place, all over the United States. Now, according to the article that I read regarding this matter, located 125 miles northeast of Indianapolis and about 170 miles southeast of Chicago, Fort Wayne is in Allen County, Indiana, a top 50 market for out-of-state buyers like Green, Mr. Green, according to data from auction.com marketplace. And that's, it's not very uncommon that being out-of-state investor and whatnot. I mean, you have people who will, for example, they live in California, but a lot of their rental properties or their fix and flip properties are in New Mexico, they're in Texas, they're in Arizona, they're in Nevada, states that are very cheaper, and nowadays it could be in Wyoming, it could be in Idaho, because a lot more people are moving to rural states and whatnot. I mean, heck, even artist Kanye West has got his own ranch in Wyoming, of all places, but it's one of the least populated states in the United States of America because you have this now, especially in the COVID-19 economy, where more and more people are just getting away from the major cities because the incentive just isn't there anymore. And, outside of cost of living, high congestion, possible chances of you having a higher chance of you getting COVID-19 or anything else. And then unfortunately, a lot of major cities, the crime rate has gone up. So, and the poverty rate and the homeless rate has gone up, and who knows what's going to happen next year. So I get this big transition and whatnot. And then for a lot of people, it just took something like this to say, I want to change in my life. So they took action. So everybody has their different reasons. I'm never going to lump everyone into one category. And my whole thing is, at the end of the day, whether you're an investor or you're a person who wants to buy or rent someplace else, you're the one that's going to put the money down, and you're going to have to like it, and the numbers going to have to make sense to you, et cetera, and so forth. The data shows 30% of all properties purchased via online REO auction in Allen County, Indiana, were out-of-state buyers. That's a significant amount of number, ranking 36th highest among 198 U.S. counties with at least 10 online REO auction sales through the first 10 months of 2020. 30% of the purchases going out of state buyers in Allen County so far in 2020 is up from 21% in 2019 and 11% in 2018. So it's very interesting. And obviously you're going to see a lot more out-of-state buyers. Plus, if you live in a state like Colorado, some certain parts are very expensive, but you're surrounded by a lot of cheap states, Montana, Indiana, the list goes on and on. Utah is, states that are cheaper, Kansas, states that are cheaper than the state of Colorado. So, like great example, me residing in Virginia, I go to places that are cheaper and whatnot to purchase real estate property, because for me, it's about bang for the buck. A lot of people are against that. They want to buy in a DMV area, but I'm just like, you're not really, financially, most people, especially if you're a working person, you're not going to be able to buy a lot of rental properties unless you do a lot of house hacking and you got a team with you. Now, when you have a team with you, you can be a lot more, you got to go a lot more further in life. I see that a lot, especially with the immigrant community. When you have 5 to 10 salaries put together, you can actually make a lot more moves and move a lot quicker instead of just 1 or 2 salaries and whatnot. Like I said, the old phenomena, in my personal opinion, of the way things were done have been gone for a long time, but a lot of people still want to hold on to the old adage when it comes to purchasing power, when it comes to collaboration and things of that nature, or when it comes to doing specific things in life. They go much slower because they lack a team, they lack resources, and they lack people. Not just the financial capital, but the social capital at the same time. Now, Allen County in Indiana fits a similar profile to the top 5 counties with the highest percentage of out-of-state buyers so far in 2020. Counties outside of major metropolitan areas with populations between 60,000 and 200,000 are actually, that's where people want to go now. And like I said, I get it. 3 out of 4 counties are home to an Army base and other Army facilities and whatnot. So obviously the military is there. There's a plethora of jobs from a multitude of levels. And, you have a more tight-knit community when you have less people within the area. Top 5 counties were Comanche County, Lawton, and Oklahoma. 75% out-of-state buyers. 75%, that's a lot. Like I said, this is a big shift. And, a buddy of mine, he has family in Oklahoma, and a lot of people before COVID was like, hey, I don't want to live in a place like that. But now, the tide is turning. You know what I mean? The way of quality of life is turning. And I all I can say is, to other states that are considered very expensive, I implore you, people who run, I'm no politician, never want to be, and I don't care about anyone's politics. But I will say, if you could see a big influx of people leaving your state, that means money is leaving your state. And if money is leaving your state, but at the end of the day, the beautiful thing about the United States of America, it's a corporation and everything's for sale. So it's about money, because you need money to run a company, just like you need money to run a state and a county and a city. So it is what it is. So if you see, when you see thousands of people leaving the area, that's money leaving your pocket. So that can make a town and the state file bankruptcy. I'm just saying. But that's just my personal opinion on that one. But anyways, another area is Calhoun County, Alabama. 60% of people out-of-state investors. Richmond County in Augusta, Georgia, is 56% of out-of-state investors. Salem County, New Jersey, 56% of out-of-state investors. And Rockland Island County, Quad Cities in Illinois, 54% of out-of-state investors. Now, at the end of the day, within the COVID-19 economy, affordability and safety form a numerous amounts of levels. To be perfectly honest with you all, I do not see these dynamics changing anytime soon. And when it comes to a lot of investors, that they like to invest where their hearts are at the same time too. A lot of times it's not just about the money, it's about, trying to help revitalize a community at the same time, and I think that's a great thing. The article stated that out-of-state buyers often have a personal connection or a special affinity for the markets where they are purchasing. I get that. Even if those markets are literally across the country. Great example, San Francisco-based real estate investor Will Wenzel started purchasing distressed properties in his hometown of Fairfield County, Connecticut. I believe I've been through there because I have family in Connecticut, which is 2,959 miles away from San Francisco, when he had a eureka moment shortly after that declaration of the pandemic in March. He stated, and I quote, "We wanted to see the area do well. We wanted to invest capital back into the area in which we grew up in," said Mr. Wenzel, who is partnering up in the venture with the longtime friend who is a designer and general contractor in the Connecticut area. Like I stated, I get and respect that. A lot of times it's not all about the numbers. It's actually about revitalization and whatnot. You see that in other places like Baltimore, Detroit, et cetera, and so forth. When the pandemic started, he stated, we realized that we were at the beginning of the great suburbanation. I like that. Suburbanation, where the millennial generation is moving to the suburbs. Because for a long, big time, we had a lot of millennials moving to the major cities and whatnot. But the pandemic in itself has created a bigger shift to where more people are moving to the suburbs and even rural settings and whatnot, because like I said, the attraction of the major cities kind of gone, given the fact that, people get older, they're having families, they want a life change, or just two, if there's nothing going on in the city, then what's the point of you paying an outrageous amount of money in rent or for property and whatnot if the dynamics of the city life no longer exist anymore? So I get it. If you're going to be online all the time and be in the house, obviously you're going to be in a space that's much more bigger than an apartment building. I get it. The top 5 counties within the country for out-of-state investors are Comanche. Well, it's like I said, I read those counties earlier and whatnot. But when it comes down to it, change is inevitable. And in today's world, and if you as a real estate investor are looking to thrive in today's world, you definitely want to do your research and act accordingly, because the tide isn't coming, it's here, and it's going to continuously shift. And, it's going to be interesting, but it just depends on what side of the court you want to play on, all right? So do me the great 3 free things: like, share, and subscribe. Happy Thanksgiving. And as always, family, make money moves. Take care.